organisations, what we're also going to see is more casualised workforce. With more casualised workers, what you get is what you see in nursing agencies, where it's undertrained staff going in to deal with quite complex medical needs, where on one situation where I was talking to a young woman, she was saying the nurse came in and asked a 16-year-old girl, how do you change a catheter bag? That was from the nursing agency. These are just some of the symptoms of casualised labour. If you look, for example, at building sites, look at how many people die on a building site per year. I don't know the statistics, so I'm not even going to try and quote one, but we can be guaranteed those accidents and those deaths will also increase. You'll also get an increase in the old people dying. For example, our comrade from the Fire Brigades Union. Now, I, for one, having been to Iraq, know what burns look like. I know what a missing limb looks like, and not just a limb that is, oh, we've been into a hospital and there's the gauze wrapped around it. I've seen what the burn looks like. You casualise and you start cutting down things such as the fire brigade. Are we going to be the ones who are going to run into those houses when those chip pans are on fire? No, we're not, because now none of us are trained in doing this. So you make cuts in the fire brigade, people die. It's not some abstract little image in our minds of what happens to a trade union, or some abstract theory relating to what the Tories might say or do, but they make these cuts in fire, health, in all these essential services. People are going to die. Now, unless people are going to start willing to go and clean up the mess themselves, which somehow I don't think either the Liberal Party or the Conservative Party are going to do, then we're going to have a big problem. If we discuss how these cuts are going to have a real life impact, then I think we'd be able to also move the discussion forward, and it would also give us a perspective on how we take this out into the communities, so that we can politically engage with people who are not in the trade unions and who have never been involved in political struggle before.
There's been a lot of talk over the weekend about fragmentation and disunity in the left. The Convention of the Left was established in 2008, and here we are today with an announcement of yet another organisation of the left. And to me, looking at the title of the two organisations, we've got the same aim. Why?
And the problem, I think, with the convention is that it's reactive to the agendas laid down by the mass media, and it's not been proactive. We need to be proactive and put forward our alternative. The crisis of capital at the moment is caused by the subprime mortgage market in America, and it is caused by the lending of the banks, or they didn't have the funds to sustain their lending procedures. So we have to put forward an alternative to capital. Now, the problem is that there are still many socialists who still hark back to the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, and also even to Cuba. But now we notice in Cuba that even according to reports in the reputable press and in some American papers, some journalists interviewed Castro, and even Fidel Castro admits that the Cuban economy, the Cuban socialism, doesn't work for the Cubans. There's also reports that a large number of public sector workers in Cuba are going to be dismissed, and they have to be forced into the private sector to become self-employed. So they're dismantling the state in Cuba, according to these reports. So I think the alternative we should be focusing on is a bottom-up alternative. It's an alternative based on self-management, on workers' control, based perhaps on the sort of ideas that are coming out of the National Shop Stewards Network, which is a rank-and-file organisation of grassroots trade unionists that are campaigning not only against the cuts, but they're campaigning for workers' control and a transformation of society. And I think this vision we should be putting forward today is anti-hierarchical, it's an anti-authoritarian, it's based on workers' power, it's based on grassroots action. And the last point is, I think Paul's absolutely right when he talks about the need for class struggle. Paul's got fantastic instincts as a working class person who's fought against the capitalist system throughout the miners' strike, and he suffered in that strike. I know he was attacked by the police, etc., and he suffered injuries. I think that sort of instinct is prevalent amongst sections of workers, and it's also prevalent in our communities up and down this country. And I think what we're going to see, as the cuts bite, we're going to see a spontaneous eruption of opposition to the Conservative Lib Dem government, and it's going to leave the socialists who theorise about these things. these socialists to one side. I think the working people, working class people, will actually take action on themselves and actually confront the capitalist system in a way that can survive a lot of people here today.
I'm really proud of what we've been able to do over the last sort of 2-3 years with the Convention of the Left, because our objective has been to get people from diverse organisations, socialist organisations, diverse socialists, independent socialists, together in one place and actually talking to each other and engaging with each other, exchanging ideas and looking towards areas of working together. I don't think the Convention of the Left is an organisation in the way we'd normally think of it, because it has consciously gone out to draw people together and to leave things as open as possible, rather than being a line organisation or anything like that. And I think, though this year's meeting is much smaller than 2 years ago, we have again achieved getting representatives of diverse socialist lines of thought, diverse anti-cuts movements together in this room today. That is really, really good. And we have to recognise, in fact, funnily enough, a lot of what I was going to say, Lindsay has actually just said, we have to recognise that we are a very fractious crowd, inclined to fall out rather than fall in with each other, sometimes in very sort of limited reasons. And that is a hard job to get people together in the way that I think we have done reasonably well at achieving over the last 2 or 3 years. And I think, hats off to us in that sense. But I think we have to realise that things are difficult in getting us together, and we do have to think slowly, think things through. What I would like to do to follow that through a little bit at the end of this meeting, for those of us in Manchester, in the Greater Manchester area, is to meet up in room 2 just round the corner here, to see if there's ways that we can look at cooperating on the various anti-cuts initiatives that are coming up over the coming months in terms of events. We've already heard people speaking from Levenshulme, from Immigration Aid Unit, from the Right to Work campaign, from Coalition of Resistance, and I'm sure loads of other people I can't remember at the moment at today's meeting, all of which are doing campaigns in their own particular areas and doing them well. I think we need to be looking at how they can cooperate. And I think that we have to recognise that we can't always just immediately jump into bed into one particular organisation because we are sceptical about whether it's a wholly owned subsidiary of a particular political current or something like that. I think we have to accept that that is a lack of trust that we do experience problems with. So what I'm asking is for people from Manchester, Greater Manchester, from any of those organisations to come into room 2, say 10 minutes after the end of this session, give people a chance to get a brew and things like that, and see if there is 1 or 2 initiatives we can look at for cooperation. Maybe building a demonstration in March, I don't know, but let's try it.